This is the Black TV Show podcast hosted by Miriam Temeskin. Welcome back to the podcast, and here we are going to Debate Club. This is episode 83, A Different World, season 1, episode 5, War of Words. So this episode aired October 29, 1987, the same day as The Cosby Show season 4, episode 6. That's not what I said. So the synopsis for this episode is Maggie prepares to debate Whitley on issues of women's rights and then at the same time she's dealing with the same issue. This episode was actually not that bad compared to the ones that we're going to have in the next few episodes, which I'm letting you know ahead of time that I don't like them. But this episode was really good. For a season 1 episode, this is really, really good because it's dealing with women's rights. You know, when we get to season 2 and on, Debbie Allen made sure to deal on issues that are impacting the youth and how we need to speak up about these issues. And for this episode, episode's all about women's rights, which is such a big issue even to this day. And the fact that Maggie and Denise is able to stand up and speak up on, I keep saying human rights, women's rights is just amazing. So this episode was really well done. So we start off with everyone's asleep and Dwayne's on the radio. He's taking over for Mike because I think he was sick. And by the way, Dwayne will be on the radio very often throughout the series, so he will be the radio man. And then the iconic photo of Kadeem as being Dwayne is him in his radio gear. So it's a thing for him that he's the radio host. When I went to university, first of all, radio was not as big anymore by the time I got to university, so I would rarely hear the school radio, but we did have a school radio, and I knew, I think, 2 of the hosts, not personally, but I've ran into them, they're acquaintances, and they would host the radio show at a certain time on a certain week and all that. So it is a common thing, so at least that part is true, okay? So I'm really giving praise to this one episode, okay? And so then Dwayne ends up telling the whole school where Denise sleeps, so she's not happy. She actually wakes up by that sound. And then Maggie wakes up and talks about her dream about the future. You know, she's going to be a journalist for a magazine, and she has twins, and then all of a sudden the man in her dream is not Mike, who we'll find out is her boyfriend, but it's Dwayne. And she basically said he was like, hey everyone, and then Jaleesa was like, well, he was on the radio, that's probably why you heard his voice. And so Jaleesa was like, so is Mike coming into campus? And she was like, I'm not sure, he's supposed to come Friday, but he has a lot of exams and everything. And Jaleesa even said, is this photo a fake photo? Is it a stock photo of a guy? But she was just making a joke. And then Denise is happy it is Friday because it is there's nothing going on today. She has the afternoon free. And Maggie was like, oh no, you got debate club today. And Denise was like, why do you make me join? And so Maggie was like, for your resume, for this, that. And then Jaleesa was like, probably because you needed the credits. I didn't know you could get credits from debate club. I don't recall a debate club when I was in university. Of course, there were debates for the president. Is it president? Vice president? Yeah. For the student union. So of course there were those debates. I remember that, but I don't really remember much of the debates, just to debate for no reason kind of thing. So yeah, that's about it. And so it's later on, we're in the main floor, and Dwayne is there, Whitley is there. We're going to skip the conversation they're having, it's kind of random. And so then Maggie goes to the mailbox, and there's no letter from Mike, and she had no phone calls from him, so she was like, I guess he's not coming this weekend. And so then we are at the debate society, where we meet Professor Lawrence. By the way, I was going to say this at the end, but I might as well mention it. In this episode, we have 3 of the Wayans siblings. We have Keenan Wayans, who right now we see is Professor Lawrence. Damon Wayans, who is the host. His name is Marvin. I said Mike earlier, so sorry about that. It's actually Marvin. Mike is Maggie's boyfriend, and Marvin is the radio host. That's also played by Damon Wayans. And then there's, of course, Kim Wayans as Allison. And apparently in this episode, this is like the first time they've actually said Allison. We've been saying her name is Allison all this time, but we've never actually heard someone call her out as Allison. So just a side note on that. In this episode, like, Professor Lawrence calls out Allison in that conversation in this scene. So it's it's cool that the whole, well, not the whole Wayne's siblings are there, but 3 of the Wayne's siblings are there. It would be cool if like Marlon and Sean were, is it Sean, I think? I'm like thinking, what's his name from the White Chicks? But yeah, it would be cool if all like the 5 of them were in this. But anyways, and so we meet Millie for the first time. I remember Millie, it's weird. Like, you guys, I don't really like season 1, but for some reason, Millie is always, like, someone that I've always, like, know about, because she was a recurring character throughout season 1. I don't know if they actually said what her relationship is to anyone, but I believe she's is cousins with Whitley, I think. I just know she always stands by Whitley, defends Whitley. And the weird thing is, we're at episode 5, and we've not met her. We've met Ron Johnson, which is Dwayne's, well, at this point, just friend, but eventually best friend. But it's weird that we just found out about her, and, like, where does she sleep? We've seen all these other girls from the dorm room hanging out, so it's weird. And I think Millie ends up living in Gilbert Hall. So it's very weird that the way that they put her in this episode. She's not in the next few episodes, so it's just strange, okay? So the prof tells Millie that she needs to be more confident when telling her points in the debate. And also the prof tells Whitley how she behaves on the podium, like she's a drama queen, okay? That's basically it. And so then Allison laughs of what Professor Lawrence says about Whitley. And so he points her out and saying her flaws, like, you cannot be just making faces and noises and all that stuff when someone doesn't do well, basically. And so Whitley is going to introduce a motion, and the motion is a woman that chooses both family and career I'll say that again. Whitley introduces a motion: if a woman chooses both family and career, one must suffer. Everyone just thinks it's stupid, especially Maggie and Denise. Maggie says, woman can do anything a man can do. And Maggie says, you know what, I'll debate her on this. And so we cut to the pit, and Jaleesa found some research for the debates on the side of a woman can have both a career and a family. And she got the research from the New York Times and her own personal life, because she was married, right? And so then we meet Marvin, which is, I told you, his real name is Damon Wayans. And he's back on the radio, and he tells Dwayne to get his own show whenever someone else is sick. And then Dwayne was like, I don't know what to do. And eventually he will end up broadcasting the debates. So then Dwayne says that he will actually broadcast the debate. That'll be his first show, basically. And so he's really happy with that idea. And all of a sudden we hear that Mike is in the pit, which is Maggie's boyfriend. She was so surprised that he came because he didn't send any letters, he didn't call. But she is so happy that he's there. And he's actually there to tell her some news. But of course, they're going to talk about it outside the pit, not in front of anyone. And we find out that he has a job at a pork business, so basically selling pork, and he's in PR, so public relations. So basically, he's going to be promoting pork. And Maggie is not so happy about that because his path is to go into law school. Like, that is what he's he's not in law school, but he's studying to go into law school. And he's decided to quit that. Well, not really quit the dream, but postpone the dream. And decides to take this job in Washington, D.C., which I always tell you guys, that's like my second home. So Maggie's like, I don't know, like, Washington, D.C., like, I have to leave Hillman. And I don't even know if there's a good journalist program in Washington, D.C. I feel like there would be because, Washington, D.C. is like the home of the White House where there's like a lot of press conferences. So you would think there would be a good school there that would have a good journalist program. And spoiler alert, Maggie will not return for season 2 of A Different World. At this moment in time, I don't know what their reasoning is for her to not show up. I know with Denise, the reason for her, she ends up going to Africa, all that stuff. But for Maggie, I don't know what they said as her excuse of not being on season 2. But at this moment in time, she does not want to leave. She's just like, I'd rather be here. This is, where I feel I fit in and all that stuff. He all of a sudden says, oh, sorry then. Let me rephrase what I said. Do you want to marry me? And I'm like, dude, stop bribing her, okay? Like, why would you say that? Like, if you wanted to marry her, say that first before talking about your job. Or actually, I don't know if that's a good idea. But still, like, he waited a while until he said that. And it was like, are you you're bribing her with love, basically, or with a marriage? And to me, I feel like I'm sorry, I don't think I would say not right now. No. And so then we end Act 1 there. And at this moment, Maggie's like undecided. And so we're now in Act 2, and Maggie is back from a run. And she ends up telling Jaleesa and Denise that Mike asked her to marry her. And they were like, so what did you say? And she was like, I haven't said anything. And Denise is kind of on her side, it seems like. And Jaleesa is not. Jaleesa is like, you can't. You need to finish out school first before you get married. And basically follow him. Like, you cannot be following him. And Denise brings up her parents and says, my parents did all right, helping each other out. And so, Maggie was like, I don't even know, but I need to go for another run. So she leaves to go up for another run because apparently that's how she thinks. And so then we see Whitley is exercising, getting prepared for the debate, I guess. Because I thought, in order to get ready for debate, shouldn't you exercise your brain? But instead, she's exercising her whole body with dumbbells, showing her muscles in the mirror, looking like a Hulk. It's very weird. And, Dwayne's on the radio and promoting his radio show that he's going to broadcast from the debates. And, he has a snippet of what Whitley says on the radio. Basically, like, she's going to win this debate kind of thing. And she also quotes Muhammad Ali. I was like, oh, of all people. Well, it's, and I don't mean like out of all people, but like Whitley, to pick Muhammad Ali to quote from. Very strange. Mike is waiting in the dorm room for Maggie to go to the debates. And, Maggie has her cue cards ready to debate Whitley out with this issue about women's rights. But Mike wants to talk to Maggie, and she's just like, I don't really want to talk, but basically he asked her, like, do you have an answer to the question I asked you yesterday? And she's like, I don't have an answer. It's a yes and a no. So basically not an answer. And he's shocked. Like, why wouldn't you be excited as me, basically? Because he expected her to say yes. But of course, like, she doesn't want to drop her dreams and aspirations for this dude, okay? And he even mentions that he got an apartment lease in Washington D.C. for them, and it's a really nice place. And she was like, you didn't even ask me if I wanted to move. Like I haven't said yes, and you've already made these kinds of decisions already. So she's just, like, not really happy. And during this time, like, Whitley's watching, I was, like, wondering if Whitley was going to use this moment to add to her debate against Maggie, but it doesn't seem like it actually happens. And so we are at the debate. And, of course, Whitley basically says, a woman does not have the right to basically go to... the right to have her own dreams and career and have a family. Like, you have to sacrifice, not compromise, basically. And I don't think she uses the word compromise, but... when Maggie does her debate, she says, we cannot sacrifice, we can compromise. Sacrificing your dream for your partner is not a good idea. I feel like in a way that you're going to resent that person. So never tell your partners to give up their dream in order to make your dream happen. You guys have to work together to make both your dreams come true. So that's my point. I like went off script right there, but with Whitley, she's just like, no, you're not gonna succeed. You're just gonna fail in life, basically. But like, I was like thinking to myself, Whitley, you're in school right now in order to have a dream in a career at this moment in time we don't know what that career is, but. If you believe that a family and a career doesn't go align, why are you even in school? You could have just been, like, working until you found that person, And so it's just, like, very strange of Whitley to debate this motion, okay? It doesn't go great like this. And by the way, there is an episode, I think it's in season 6, I just can't remember. I think it has to be, because that was it was 1992. I just don't know, because it has to do with the Clinton election in 1992, where they do a reverse gender, I guess, where the women are the ones running for president and the men are the ones that are helping and being on the side of a woman. So that one, it was another, I think, women's rights episode. And so eventually, like, Whitley will have her own career throughout the show, but, like, it's just like, girl, if you really believe in this, don't be in school, man. Just don't. And so then, so Maggie comes up and says her piece, says that, women should not sacrifice, they can compromise. And all of a sudden, she brings up her own issues onto the stage, like saying, like, I am not moving to Washington, D.C. Like she just went off script, and, like, Denise is like, what is she doing? And so eventually, for the rebuttal, she just couldn't get back up. So Denise comes up and does it for her. And basically, she brings up what her parents went through. Cliff went to middle school and Claire helped him out. And when Claire went to law school, he helped her out. And so they worked together in order to make both their dreams happen. And also they both, take care of the family. And, Cliff had to compromise by, learning how to cook, and the kids had to compromise by eating his cooking, because we remember those the weird foods that we've discussed in previous episodes. They're not great. He puts really weird stuff in there, but she brings the point saying that they work together in order to bring their dreams alive, like together as a whole, and be able to build a family of 5, basically. And so basically, Professor Lawrence decides to do a vote, and the motion has been. Is it called denied? I don't know. I'm not a debate person, so I hate watching debates just in general when I'm watching on TV. But basically, Maggie and Denise won this debate, and Denise goes and hugs, is attempting to hug Stevie, but then Dwayne tries to like interfere, but that didn't work. And then Maggie goes and hugs Mike, and that's the end of that scene. And then we cut to, it's evening time. It's 11:56, I believe that's what they said. And it's so 4 minutes to curfew, which I don't understand. Why would you have curfew for adult people? It just doesn't make sense. Like, if this is boarding school, like, as I said, like Zoe 101, then that makes sense, okay? But it's in college, I don't understand. Like, I was never in a dorm room, but my friend's friend was, and they could stay up as late as they want. They could be out as late as they want. It doesn't matter, but it's just, this is strange. But anyways, Maggie actually makes it on time before curfew. And so Maggie comes in, and she says to them that they decided not to rush things. She is staying at campus. She's not leaving, and she's happy about it. So basically, she did not sacrifice her dream, and I guess in a way compromise. So this whole episode is all about compromise versus sacrifice. That's a basic. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, why didn't call this episode "Compromises versus Sacrifice"? Because they constantly had said that throughout the episode. I don't know why it said war of words. Like, if you're in debate, is that a war? That's not a war, right? So it's weird. I think this name of this episode should have been compromise versus sacrifice, okay? But anyways, we end the episode right there. And as I mentioned earlier, Keenan, Damon, and Kim Waynes all appear in this episode. So if you don't know Keenan Ivory Waynes, who played Professor Lawrence, he is known for writing and directing Scary Movie 1 and 2, White Chicks, Little Man, The OG. He also was the creator of the show of In Living Color, which was a sketch show, similarly, I guess, to Saturday Night Live, I think, but with majority black cast, or a majority people of color cast. And then Damon Wayans, he played Marvin. He's been in Saturday Night Live, in Living Color. The one show that I know him the most from is My Wife and Kids. That show was on all the time when I was a child. I don't know why it's not on TV anymore, but he also was in Lethal Weapon. Dean Holloway who plays Michael. He has been in Days of Our Lives, and he is in 13 other credits, so he really didn't do much acting, which is weird. I felt like he was like a familiar face I've seen, so I thought he would done more acting, but he didn't. And then Marie Alice, Richardness. Oh my God, I just butchered her name so bad. I apologize, Marie. It's so bad. But she is in 11 other episodes in this season, and of course she will not come back, which is weird because if she's like related to Whitley, I would assume she would have been throughout the series. I don't know why they took her out. But she's been in Ellen, Days of Our Lives, and I guess quite a few other things, but nothing that I know of. And then, of course, we had B.B. Smith playing Gloria, and Kim Waynes back as playing Allison, which we hear for the first time is her actual name. So that was cool. And then the lesson for this episode is never sacrifice your career and dreams for your partner. So I have a question for you guys. Have you ever made any sacrifice in order for your partner's dreams to come true? Using the hashtag War of the Words, which don't make no sense, but at Black TV Shows Pod at Twitter and Instagram. I would love to hear your responses and experiences. And the next episode is episode 84, The Cosby Show Season 4, Episode 6, That's Not What I Said. And I will see you all on the next one.